Hey everybody, how you doing today? This is Eric Anderson and we are back at it again here on the Bass and Triad channel, where we do everything we can to distill music down to the simplistic 7 notes that virtually every song is built on. And why do we do this? Well, because as I've said before, I genuinely believe that musicians are notorious for taking something incredibly simplistic and making it extremely difficult to understand. And my goal is to break this down to such a level, to such a simple way of understanding it, that even a drummer like me can understand what this is all about. Right? So I'm very, very excited about today, because what we're going to be getting into, what we're going to be getting into is the triads themselves, right? So last week, or over the last couple of weeks now, we've reviewed the C scale, because we just keep working in the key signature of C. Because like I've said before, and I'm going to say it over and over again, if you understand how the system works in one key signature, you instantaneously understand how the system works in every single key signature. Because then we might change the notes to protect the ignorant, but the ways that they work and the way that melody and harmony and rhythm work is all the same, regardless of which set of 7 notes you choose to use, right? And then once we're going to do, what we're going to do is we're going to launch right into looking at the triads, and we're going to break down exactly what they are and why they're such a big deal. But before we launch into this, I just got to ask, hey, if you're liking this, if you're digging what I'm doing here, or at least what I'm trying to accomplish here, give me the big thumbs up, give me the like, give me the subscribe, definitely. But more than anything, please ask your questions and leave your comments down below, because I genuinely am curious about what you're thinking, what your ideas are, what your questions are. And candidly, what I really want to know is, am I helping you understand this in a very simplistic way, or is it still overly complicated for you? Either way, let me know, because I need the feedback so I know which direction I should go next, right? So with that being said, let's get into this. So over the past couple of weeks, we have looked at the C major scale. And like I said, we're sticking with just the C major scale over and over again, not because we're only going to play in C, but just get it in one key signature, and then you can use it in the rest of them. So in this C major scale, we have 7 notes: C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Those are the 7 notes. And then we just repeat that cycle when we go to the next octave, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And I could continue going either up the fretboard, which is higher in pitch, or I can go backwards and go down the fretboard, which would be lower in pitch, right? And I'm not going to do that now, because you can go back and take a look at previous videos to see how that all works. So off of these 7 notes, right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B. We're going to start making the triads themselves. And the triads are actually I think are fairly easy to understand, as long as you just think about 7 notes and nothing more than that. The triads are the foundation upon which all the other big kid chords, like the 7ths, the 9ths, the 11ths, the 13ths, they're the foundation for those chords, as well as, once you get really comfortable with the triads, then we can start to tweak the triads a little bit, and can start to create the suspended fourths and the suspended seconds. And that's really, oh, and I forgot, there's also the 6th chord, which is built on top of the triad. So as you can see, these triads are pretty much the foundation for all harmony, and so that's what we're going to look at. So again, using the notes of C major, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, right? And we're going to stop there. What we're going to do is we're going to break down the triad, and the triad is nothing more than each 3-note group that is put together in the key of C in such a way that from each note from the key of C, you would go every other note from that point, and you would wind up having a triad. So what I mean by that is that if we're doing a C triad, the 3 notes that are going to be used are going to be the C, the E, and the G, which is C, E, G. Now the 2 notes that are skipped over, we just go, like I said, it's every end of the note, which is C, D is skipped over, E, F is skipped over to get to your G. So just to kind of help you hear the notes that were skipped over, I'm just going to kind of bounce back and forth on this triad, C, E, G, E. Now in those open spaces in between these notes, I'm going to put in the 2 notes that were skipped over so you can kind of hear how this whole thing works. 2, and here it comes, go. So it's now back to the triad. Now add them in. And every single triad, we can do this with every note from the key of D, or excuse me, from the key of C. So I'm going to show you the D minor triad, and it works the exact same way. So we're going to start at D, we're going to skip over the E and play the F, then we're going to skip over the G and play the A, and we're just going to go back and forth, right? So D, F. Now I'm going to add the notes in that were skipped. Okay, so that's how the triads work. All the triads work the same way. Starting from any note in the key signature you're playing in our case in C, you're just going to use every other note from that start point. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to get my metronome running at 70 beats a minute. So here it comes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play each one of the triads, and I'm going to show you, you'll be able to see how each note gets skipped and which notes are used to make the triad at the same time. So here we go. So 1, 2, the C, go. Right, and that last one was just the C triad, an octave higher than the first one. So in the same fashion that we can do with the scales, we can continue to do the same thing with the triads. We can keep going up our instrument as far as pitch is concerned, or we can go down our instrument, either way you want to go, right? So just to kind of help you, just to kind of nail this down a little bit, the interesting thing about the triads is, like, especially when you listen to the guitar players and the piano players, you know, the rhythm section, a lot of times what they're doing is that they're playing the triads, right? You know, but they're playing all 3 of them instead of, they're playing all of them at the same time. Where more often than not, a bass player in particular is going to play each note of the triad one time. And here's a G triad, and then back to the C. But the cool thing is, whether you're playing all the notes at the same time or whether you're playing each note of the triad one at a time, when you get like the guitar player and the bass player as an example, and the guitar player is strumming all the notes at the same time, and the bass player is, so to speak, walking around the triad at the same time, that's where it all works together, because even though they're doing very different things, both the guitar player and the bass player, and pretty much, honestly, everybody in the ensemble is playing the C triad at the same time. If they're not playing the C triad, like if you got everybody else in the ensemble is playing the C triad and somebody else throws in like a D minor triad, it's going to sound like a train wreck, because it's going to be an ugly sound compared to what everybody else is playing. So no matter how they're playing their instrument, in general, people are, for the most part, always playing the same triad at the same time. So that, my friends, actually, before I wrap this up, I gotta ask, with respect to these triads, tell me what you understand the most about triads, or how this explanation makes the most sense to you, or how this explanation makes the least amount of sense to you. Because again, my friends, my goal is to help us all understand this whole idea of music theory at a much more simplistic level, where it's actually at, than overcomplicating it with all these sophisticated and scholarly words that make people that haven't gone to school, haven't studied class and studied theory in a formal setting, make us feel like idiots. Folks, music isn't supposed to make us feel like idiots. Music is supposed to make us feel good, even as we learn about it. So please help me understand which part of this made a lot of sense to you and which made no sense to you whatsoever, and please leave those comments down below. So that's it, my friends. All of our triads are built. There are 3 out of the 7 notes that are used in any given key signature in general. Right, so if we're in the key of D, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, right? If I want to play the C triad, I'm going to play the C, I'm going to skip the D, play the E, skip the F, play the G. C, E, G, E. Now I'm going to fill it in just as and every triad works that exact same way. Every other note, until you have 3 notes from the scale that you're using to put together. All of the music, or the vast majority of music we listen to, is built in that, with those particular triads in every key signature. So really, my friends, that's it. Please, again, share your thoughts, share your comments, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Definitely share this with your friends, especially if you've had a conversation with your friend asking, and the conversation has led towards why does this explanation in music need to be so difficult. Share this video with your friends and let them see that it's not that difficult. We just need to step back away from the scholarly approach and just see it for what it is, right? See 7 notes at a time. That's all we're working with in any given song. And in the beginning, the vast majority of songs we listen to is just built off of 7 notes used over and over again for 3 to 5 minutes. So that, my friends, is my rumor. I am sticking to it. I am Eric Anderson. This is the Bass and Triad channel, where we demystify the system we know as music theory, and we do it, right, just 7 notes at a time. So that's it, my friends. You take care, and I'll see you on the next video.